How do I set healthy boundaries without making enemies? We're going to break that down in this video. Hey, I'm Dr. Melissa. I'm a trauma expert and top doctor. And in this video and on this channel, I help you identify the hidden narcissists in your life, then turn that trauma into gold, becoming stronger and more powerful than you ever were before. If that is exactly what you need, click subscribe, click that notification bell so that you don't miss a thing. Today we're talking about how to set healthy boundaries without making enemies. And I want to break that into two parts. First, we're going to talk about how to set healthy boundaries. The first step is to notice the resistance in your body. When you're thinking about creating a boundary or setting a boundary, there's some sort of resistance that has come up in your body. It might be, the hair on the back of your neck standing on end. It might be an uncomfortable feeling in the pit of your stomach. It might be feeling very contracted and cold. But there are sensations that are giving you this sense of resistance that are making you want to create the boundary in the first place. The very first step is to notice them. Notice those sensations. Why? Because the next step is to discern whether those sensations are coming from your body, your spirit, your mind, your ego. And here's why that's really important. When the resistance is coming from your mind or your ego, your emotional brain, your limbic system, your amygdala to be specific, is taking those body sensations that you're feeling and making you recognize them as fear, when really those sensations might not be fear at all. For example, if you were to notice that it felt like your heart was beating a little faster, maybe your breath is a little shallower, and you felt butterflies in your stomach, that your emotional brain may interpret that as fear, but from another vantage point, it may actually be excitement. Those sensations are often the same. Your mind and your ego wants to keep you safe. It wants to keep you tied to the status quo. It does not want things to change. It does not want you to grow or evolve. It wants to do things the old way that it is comfortable with. And so if your mind and ego are putting up the resistance, that issue is actually yours to resolve internally, meaning there are no boundaries to set externally. That's something for you to sit with and to process. And then when you're ready to really push your leading edge, push yourself out of the comfort zone, because that is where all of the magic happens. Alternatively, when the resistance is coming from your body or from your spirit, that's wisdom that's coming through for you to notice. It's wisdom, and it's important for you to listen. In those cases, you always want to set the boundary. You always want to listen to the wisdom of your body, of your spirit, often of your mind, if it's not ego and fear-based. When you choose not to set a boundary, you're telling yourself that you're not important enough to protect, that you're not important enough to hold this boundary for. It's a self-betrayal that is so devastating on so many levels that it's one you always want to avoid. So say you've done this discernment process. You've decided that you need to set a boundary with someone. Maybe it's that you will not gossip with them about other people. Maybe it's that you don't wish to go to a particular event. Maybe it's that you're not interested in partnering or collaborating in a business endeavor. Once you've made that decision to set the boundary, be direct and be clear. You don't want to leave any room up for interpretation or guessing. This one can be really hard Because so often, as people who are empathic, who understand how others feel, we don't understand how someone could be crossing what would be an obvious boundary to everyone else in the first place. It just doesn't make any sense. And yet it's not clear to them. So it's your job to make it clear. It's your job to say, I won't participate in gossip with you. I don't wish to be in a relationship with you. I don't wish to go to that event Friday night. No, I am not going. Or I have no interest in a partnership or collaboration. So often kind, compassionate people feel like this is being mean. It's not being mean. It's being honest. It's actually far worse to be dishonest, to kind of go along with something and not set the boundary, go along with something that you don't want, and then passive aggressively bemoan it to someone else or internally be agitated. Why don't they see that they should have never asked me to do this in the first place? They didn't see it. It's far better to be direct. And if you're the person on the other side of it, I would far rather have someone set a clear boundary with me. They're not interested in going, to this concert, instead of telling me, well, maybe they want to go. Maybe check back with them in 2 weeks, whatever. And then I dilly-dally for 2 months before I get tickets. No, I'd rather just know right away they don't want to go. That's fine. I could honor that. It's not a problem. So be direct and clear. Then if you are working with someone who doesn't accept the direct, clear boundary, offer no further discussion on it. There does not have to be a discussion about why you don't want to go somewhere on Friday night, why you are unable to pick them up at the airport, why you don't wish to gossip about someone, why you don't wish to partner in business. Discussion is not required. No is a complete sentence. And if you've experienced boundary setting challenges in the past, type no is a complete sentence in the comment box right now. Okay, so we've talked about how to set the boundary. Now let's talk about the without making enemies part. And this part is equally important. It's really important to know that someone who is emotionally healthy, someone who has a healthy EQ, is going to honor and respect your boundary without further discussion around it. For example, I am an emotional person. I used to hate it. Now I love that about myself. I cry very easily at things that are emotional. I cry very easily for no apparent reason, as some old trauma in my body is coming up and clearing and releasing, and I have no idea what's even coming up or coming out. It's not at all uncommon for my kids to walk by and see me crying someday and say like, oh, Mom, feelings moving through. If I were on the cusp of knowing that something was going to bubble up, and maybe I just don't want it to come up right in this particular moment because we are getting out of the car to go into a big party, or there's, a live show that I am guesting on and I don't want to have bright red eyes and, tear-stained makeup and whatnot. If my husband, who's incredibly intuitive, very connected to me, were to notice that my energy were off a little bit and were to say to me, hey, what's going on? If I were to say back to him, I can't talk about it right now, given that the fact that he holds such great space for me and he's opened this door is enough to unleash these floodgates of tears, if I even walked through that door at all, he would completely understand. We would go about going to the party. I would be interviewed on the live show, whatever was going on. There would be no additional discussion for it. There would be no need for discussion about it because he would hold that boundary. I can't talk about it right now. And then later on the way home from the party, or, after the recording is over or whatever, then I could bring up with him, I don't know what's going on, or this came up for me, or whatever, and then we could talk about it. Someone who is emotionally healthy is never going to challenge you when you set a boundary. People who are not emotionally healthy in general, and narcissists in particular, will always challenge when you set a boundary because it violates their sense of control over you. And in fact, they will say things like, "You're always so controlling. You don't ever do what I want." And until we learn to recognize that projection for what it is, we take it to heart as if maybe it's true, as if maybe me not wanting to go out on Friday night means that I'm in some way controlling. No, that's absolutely insane. It is entirely within my rights to choose what I do on Friday night. It is perfectly appropriate for me to set a boundary around that. And anyone who challenges that is someone you need to watch very closely. So now we're going to talk about what to do when someone crosses your boundary. You've set a clear and direct boundary. They walk right across it. And now you're sitting there thinking, what do I do next? First, state your boundary again clearly. You are the only one responsible for enforcing it. I guarantee you that the person walking all over your boundaries and ignoring them is not going to enforce it for you. It is your responsibility. It's your responsibility to protect yourself in the same way that you would protect your 3-year-old child or grandchild. It's your responsibility to set the boundary and to enforce it. And if someone continues to ignore it, you have a few choices. Depending on the situation, you can walk away. If someone continues to try to engage you in gossip or a conversation that you just don't want to you have the option to walk away. And even if they were to call after you like, "Oh, you're walking away, you can't take it, blah, blah," realizing that that's just nonsense. You have the right to end the conversation. You have the right to end your participation in the conversation. You have the right to walk away. Maybe it's a situation where you need to involve authorities. Say your girlfriend asks to borrow your car. You tell her no, you need to take your car, somewhere else. Or you just don't want her driving it. Maybe there's a reason you just don't want her driving your car. If she takes your car anyway, you need to contact the authorities. You need to report the car as stolen. It was taken without your permission. You need to not worry about getting someone in trouble. You need to enforce your boundary. Because here's the thing. Adults who don't honor boundaries are like 2-year-olds in adult costumes. If you tell a 2-year-old they can't have a cookie before dinner, and then they take a cookie before dinner, and you don't do anything about it, chances are they're going to do it again in the future, right? If they were any of my previous 2-year-olds, they would have done it every day. This 2-year-old in an adult costume is going to do the same thing. If you tell your girlfriend she can't take your car, she takes your car anyway, and you don't do anything about it. You don't end the relationship. You don't contact the authorities. You don't take away her keys or her access to the vehicle. You don't do anything about it. It's going to happen again in the future. You've effectively given permission by not enforcing your boundary. And in some really tough relationships, your only option may be to leave the relationship, to end the relationship. If you're in a relationship with a narcissist, they are not going to learn to honor your boundaries. No matter how much you try to educate them, no matter how much kindness and compassion you show them, no matter how much you are vulnerable and share with them your feelings about how it feels when they violate your boundaries, they are getting their narcissistic supply from that act, and it's not going to change. At that point, your choice becomes to accept it or to leave. The choice is really very simple. If you'd like support around this, I invite you to join my free private Facebook group, Anti-Fragile Narcissist Survivors. And if you know that you'd really like more help with this and with rising above the trauma and the chaos from the narcissists in your life, I invite you to join me at liveantifragile.com. Living anti-fragile is, after all, what it's all about. I'm Dr. Melissa, and I'll see you in the next video.